Hello, my name is Dr. Eric Hibbs, and I'm the superintendent of the Marlboro Township Public School District, located in Marlboro, New Jersey. I wanted to create a video that would educate our community about the PARCC test that students will have to take in the 2014-2015 school year. PARCC stands for the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. More than 15 million students will take this test in the 14-15 school year, and I wanted to educate our community about what the test is like and what they can expect for our students. Here's what we know. Starting in grade 3, students will take both a performance-based assessment and an end-of-year assessment in both English, language arts, and mathematics every year. The performance-based assessment will take place approximately 75% of the way through the school year. The end-of-year assessment will take place approximately 90% of the way through the school year. PARCC has released sample tests, and they're located right here. Currently, there are sample performance-based assessments for English Language Arts and sample end-of-year assessments for mathematics. PARCC plans to release sample performance-based assessments for mathematics and end-of-year assessments for English Language Arts in the fall of 2014. In my educational opinion, it is not only important to prepare our students to succeed on the content of the PARCC assessments, that would be the Common Core State Standards, but we also need to educate our students on how to successfully navigate the test. To that end, this video will take you through a sample end-of-year mathematics assessment for grade 6. I'm not going to go over for content, rather I'm going to show you how to navigate the test well. I'm going to click on PARCC Practice Tests. Then I'm going to click on the drop down for practice tests and go to mathematics. Notice now I have many options. I have my assessments over here and my answer keys here. I'm going to grade 6. There are 2 sections, total of 34 questions. I'm going to start the test and I'm going to start the section. Before I begin, notice over to the right I'm going to click on the exhibits. If you don't know this, the control, minus, or plus keys will allow you to zoom in and zoom out. So this is a reference sheet, a formula chart for you to use throughout your entire test. If you want to make it go away, you simply click the X. Up here, let's explain the toolbar. You have the previous and next. Notice there is nothing previous to question 1, but as I navigate to question 2, both buttons come alive. This is a nice, easy way to go from question to question. I'm going to actually put an answer in here. It's not going to be the right answer, but I want you to see what happens when I click review. Notice your review allows you to see all of your questions. You can easily navigate to a question rather than hit the arrow button multiple times. So if I want to go to question 21, I can simply navigate there. But it also tells you 3 important things under the status. Number 1, I didn't view it. Number 2, I viewed it, but I didn't answer it. And number 3, which is what you want, I answered it. So at the end of your assessment, when you actually go back and look and review, everything should be answered in green with a check mark. If at any point in time you want to go back to your question, you simply click return to question, and then I'm back to my question. I'm on 21, so actually I want to go back to question 1. I'm going to view it, and there I am. I want you to also see the flag button. If I click the flag button and then go to review, notice it flags it. In other words, I need to come back to this problem for whatever reason. You didn't get it, you don't want to spend more time than you want to allot to it because you have lots of other questions. Whatever you decide, if you flag it, it'll be a reminder to go back. Okay, all throughout this test, you will virtually be able to highlight everything. And notice your options. The unhighlighter, so the white will unhighlight. Then you have yellow, pink, and blue. I'm going to choose blue. If I want to unhighlight, I simply highlight again and unhighlight. I have the protractor. Notice the protractor comes right up. I have these circles to manipulate, and know that you have to utilize the plus to line up your angle correctly like you've been taught. I have the centimeter ruler, and notice the same concept. And last but not least, I'm going to show you, it's going to say answer eliminator, but I can only use this on multiple choice questions. So I'm going to go to question 4 and navigate. Question 4 has 2 correct answers, even though it says select all that apply. If I click on the answer eliminator, I know that the correct answers here are B and D. Notice as I hover, it turns pink. But if I click, it turns red. Okay? If I want to undo it, I simply undo it. Both the highlighter and the answer eliminator are a great test-taking tool that I think you should utilize. Okay? That's the toolbar. Let's go back to question 1. Okay, and I'm going to delete that question out. Notice here, this is not a calculator, but rather a toolbar, and you need to know everything here. Clear all, undo, redo, backspace, plus sign, minus sign, times sign, division sign, fraction, mixed number, power, square root, equal, and then approximately equal, and they're always there for you. Now you also have other tools that you can make come or go. You have numbers with your comma, your decimal point, and your constant pi. If you re-click, they will go away, and you can leave them open and simply scroll down if you'd like by using this. So you have all your arithmetic and unit signs, plus sign, minus, we already went over times and division, you have plus minus sign, you have negative sign, you have your times dot, division slash, you have your dollar sign, you have your degree sign, and you have your percent sign. Exponents and roots, you have your power, you have your square root, and you have your cubed root. For relations, you have equal, not equal, similar, not similar, less than, greater than, approximately equal, not approximately equal, less than or equal, greater than or equal, congruent, not congruent. For geometry, you have your array, you have your line segment, parallel, perpendicular, angle, angle measure, triangle, parallelogram, circle. You have your groups, which would be your parentheses, your bracket, your brace, and your absolute value. And you can go back and you can close all these, and you can make it nice and neat, but you need to know how to manipulate all of those throughout the entire test. So for question 1, I want to draw your attention to the word only. Notice it's in bold. I always like to highlight bolded vocabulary. It's a roadmap, and enter only your fraction, so you know that you are utilizing the fraction portion here. And notice there's going to be a numerator and a denominator. You can easily navigate between the two, and the correct answer is 5 as your numerator and 2 as your denominator. And that's how you navigate the toolbar, which is not a, that's right, calculator. Okay, because we are on the non-calculator portion. Okay, this is going to be a drag and drop. Drag and drops exist in several different types. So notice this drag and drop, as you drag and drop, does not actually eliminate anything from the top. Sometimes it absolutely will. You knew this wasn't going to be the case because you have 3 options for 4 slots. So you would simply drag in the correct answers to the correct spaces, and notice, let's say I made a mistake and I wanted the 4th item to be not enough information. Watch what happens as I drag it. Nope, can't do it. So in order for that to happen, I have to take my false out, and then I can re-drag back in. Okay, and it works that way for all drag and drops. Not all drag and drops will leave information at the top. Some will disappear, but for all drag and drops, if you want to remove, you have to take it back up to the top of the toolbar. Okay, I'm going to navigate to question 3, and this is a text box. So for question 3, watch what happens when I put the answer in. Notice the X. If I click the X, it's going to go away and clear. Very simple. Watch what happens when I hit anything besides a number in this text box. And I'm going to hit the letter B, even though you can't see it. Invalid input. So it's going to say, I need a number. Okay? Text boxes usually will have a label to the right or a $sign to the left. This one simply asks for an answer, so there's no label. If you were dealing in tiles, it would say tiles. I think you understand the point. Question 4. Okay, I already showed you how to use the answer eliminator here, and know that your roadmap again tells you select all that apply. I'm going to go pink this time, so I know that for question 4 there is all that would apply. So I want you to notice something. I can click the answers, which would be B and D. Okay, Okay, those are the only two correct answers for question 4. But watch what happens when I click C and I click review. It's going to tell me that I answered the question. So don't forget, PARCC is not going to tell you that you answered the question incorrectly. It's simply going to know whether or not you actually answered the question or not. Okay. Now I would use the highlighter and the answer eliminator for every multiple choice problem. I think that just makes sense. I think that way. That's the way my brain works as a learner. You may think differently, but you have the options to use or to not use. Okay, question 5 is going to be a drag and drop. And notice here, I'm going to highlight the important information. Least to greatest, I'm going to go in yellow, so I know I'm starting with the least and I'm ending with the greatest. So I know that the least here would be your improper fraction at 4/3, and then negative 4/5, and then we have negative 2/3, and then we have you have 7/10, and then 7/8. And this is a great example of how you drag and drop and they leave. Notice here, let's say I did this backwards and I said, oh, I want to switch these. If I try to switch, it won't happen, so I have to put 1 back up in the holding pattern. Then I can drag and drop over here if I would like, and then drag and drop back in. That's obviously not correct for content, but I wanted you to see how it would work. Question 6, text box. Notice the label, cubes. We're dealing in cubes. Text box, you're a pro at that by now. This is going to be your toolbar again for question 8. If you were going to do your answer, which would be your fraction, you would have to put it in as a fraction. Okay? The only way to get good at this is to practice. Okay? We have a text box, and we're dealing in plastic bags. I'm not going to highlight it. Question 10. This is an awesome question. So what you have to know here is that you have a table that shows the ages of 20 visitors. Then you have to create a histogram that represents the data, and the data is not in order. Okay, so this is just how my brain works, and you may attack this problem totally differently. So we know that we have several categories down here that the visitors will fall into. So I'm going to try and count my 0 to 9s, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them in yellow. So I have that column, there's none here. I have 2 here, and I want to go in yellow again. Okay, 9 would be included because it's the very tail end. And that would be it. So I know that my 0 to 9, and notice it's already at 1, and you can see that right here with the 1. I'm going to drag it straight up to 4. Okay, 10 to 19. So what I'm going to do is for 10 to 19, I'm going to highlight them in blue. So I have 15, I have 18, I have 15, I have 12, I have 10, and I have 15, and I believe that is it for a grand total of 6. Correct? 6, yep. I double checked it, make sure I didn't miss any. Now I'm going to drag this up to 6, and then I'm good to go. So I think you understand what I'm trying to tell you. At this moment, you would simply go through for your 20 to 29 and know that you had 3, and then for 30 to 39 you would have 2, and then for 40 to 49 you actually had 1, so it would stay, and then 50 to 59 you have 4. And at the end, you should double check it. However you do it, I think highlighting works well. You may not work that way, but if you want to use that, you certainly can. Okay, that's your histogram. 11 is going to be your toolbar once again, and you are dealing in coordinates. So the answer here would be 3, and then you actually have to use a negative number. So you would have to actually click in the second place, put your negative in, and then you could put in your second number. Okay? Only way to be proficient is to practice. That's question 11. Question 12, notice here, when you read a question, I'm going to re-highlight. Question is singular, so you know there's only one correct answer here for question 12, and that answer is C. Question 13, simple text box. I'm not even going to go over it. Okay. question 14 is going to deal with what is the expression written in exponential form. Enter only your expression for question 14. So for question 14, I know that we have the answer of 7, and I know I have to take it to a power. And notice it'll pop up and 7 to the 6th power. But the only way to know that is to actually practice and see how it works. Okay? Question 15 is drop downs. Notice you have information here. Then you have to choose the correct answer for question 15. With that, you would actually have to drop down, for the 4, and you would drop down for 3. Okay, drop downs could be the same. They could not be. It all depends. You have to read them carefully. Question 16. This is selecting a point on the number line. It's actually quite simple. You simply have to highlight where you want it to be. If you want to move it, you simply click somewhere else. Okay, very easy to manipulate. Our students and your children should have no problem with that. Text box, I'm not going to go over it. Notice a $sign. That would be your label. And then you have enter your answer again for the text box for 19, or for 18, I'm sorry. 19 is the same thing with the text box. 20 is going to be another toolbar problem. And it's going to ask you to put things in. If you're dealing with the letter H, you are allowed to actually type in the letter H. And then what happens is you need to know that H is greater than, and notice how it changes, and then it's greater than 6,000, so you could type in 6,000. Okay? That's how that worked. Notice how the H changed into the italics. Okay? Because you're dealing with the inequality to represent each. Okay, and then for the last one on the non-calculator part, 21, notice here I'm going to zoom out and so I can see it, and it's talking about city planners. We have some coordinates. It says in this coordinate grid, you have to know the distance. You can use the grid to help you, and then enter your answer in the box in miles. And remember, if you don't put a number in, invalid input. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. It's going to ask me to either review the answers, which I obviously would do, and I showed you how to do that. You would want to ensure that all of your answers were checked in green and that you didn't have to flag and go back to anything. But I'm going to continue. It's going to ask me to leave. I'm going to select yes. I have a calculator part for 13 questions. I'm going to start my session. I'm going to zoom back in with Control plus. You got it. And I'm going to be here now, and I'm starting with question 1 on the calculator part. This is a drop down again, and there's going to be 3 along with a text box. So I would need to put the correct answer in, or the correct answers, and then I would need to put the correct answer into the text box. Okay. And then I could move on. Okay. Beware the multiple points to questions. You have 3 drop downs and a text box. Usually 4 things in a problem is usually the maximum of what you see, whether they're separate or embedded in a separate part A, part B. And here's a good example. Here's 4. Right away you have 4 text boxes: miles per hour, hours, miles per gallon, and then gallons. I'm not going to go over it. You know how to do it. Okay, let's go to question 3. I'm going to zoom out so that we see here on the coordinate grid. Select the point that represents the number of pine trees planted and the number of maple trees. So for question 3, what we have here is that it's going to be at the location of 120 and 180. 120 and 180. Okay, and all I have to do is simply plot my point. Okay, simple. And notice there's no options for colors. It just simply means you have to choose the space and click. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out a little bit so I can see. Notice question 4 of 13. We have about a paragraph here, then we have concert ticket sales, and we have snack sales, and then we have a part A text box and a part B where you have to do the toolbar. We've already gone through that. Enter your equation in the box for question 4, and you would have to enter them both correctly. I'm not going to do this because we've already done it. Question 5 of 13 is going to be enter your answer in the box. Question 6 of 13. Once again, I'm going to highlight the bold. That's your roadmap. It's in pink now. I love the color pink. And for question 6, there's going to be 2 correct answers. Remember, it's multiple choice, so what can you use? That's right, the answer eliminator. All right, so click on the answer eliminator, and I could eliminate all of the answers that were incorrect. I could go back here, and I could select the ones that are correct, and then I've done my problem. Question 7, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see it, even though it's a little small. I'll zoom actually back in, and what I'll do is I'll do this. Okay, notice that you have an answer in the text box, and then you have enter only your fraction. You know where that is by now. You can do this. Question 8, 2 drop downs. You have to choose what's correct. Okay, so notice this is an example of the drop downs being different. So for question 8, you would know that the ribbon costs there, and then centimeter. Question 9, you have to enter your answer in the box. We've gone all about text boxes. You have it by now. Question 10 of 13 is going to be a great example of 2 toolbars. Enter only your fraction. Enter only your fraction. You know by now the fraction is right here. It'll even tell you fraction. You have to go in and enter both your numerator and denominator. Okay, the next question, I'll zoom back in. Control plus is going to be just a text box. Question 12 of 13. Great example here. So you have a part A and a part B. Part A multiple choice. You could use your answer eliminator. Part B is square feet with a text box. And question 13. So for question 13, what we have here is we have information, we have a text box, and then we have a drop down. We've already gone through this. So that would be the grade 6 end of year mathematics assessment. Notice that you did have both. What I didn't show you also is that for the second part, notice the calculator comes up on the toolbar. Okay, so when I click on the calculator, I now have it, and I can move it around a little bit if I need to. And then obviously it's a normal calculator that you need to know how to operate. If you want to close it, you click here, and remember that came from right here. That was not available in the first section, only in the second section. And remember, at the end, you want to obviously review, and you want to go through, and right here everything should be answered. So I hope this helped you. Grade 6 end of year mathematics sample for PARCC. Please go through these with your children and have a wonderful day.